Okay, we're back and studying oral communication in context. Hi there. So with our lesson 1, communication definition and process, we need to include informal versus formal. So these are the two types of oral communication. For informal, it includes face-to-face conversations, telephone conversations, and casual discussions in class or organizations. While formal, we have example presentations in conferences, forums, business meetings, class lectures, and delivering a speech, sermon, or talk. So in the millennial age, we have also what we call modern types of oral communication. So it includes video calls and video conferences through VoIP. VoIP stands for Voice over Internet Protocol. So this is a technology that transmits voice and multimedia content over IP networks or Internet protocols. Like for example, we have the Skype and the Messenger. Communication as a process. Communication, let's define it. This is a complex, interactive, and dynamic process. It changes from one setting or situation to another, from one role to another. There's also what we call communication goal, and this is to convey information for a common understanding. Individuals need to understand the interactive process and consider the context or the environment where the communication takes place. Okay, so here we are. This is the communication, has 3 basic components. So we have the message transmission or the message sending. We have also the receiving as a center part or the receiving message. And the last one will be the message understanding or understanding the message. So the sender transmits a message to another person who receives the message. The sender first develops an idea, of course, which is composed into a message and then transmitted to other party, who interprets the message and receive meaning. Information theorists have added somewhat more complicated language. That's why people use a code. So what is a code? So this is a systematic arrangement of symbols to create meaning. Codes may also be verbal, such as words, phrases, or sentences, or it can also be non-verbal, gestures and manners, like clothing and adornment. Like for example, you have seen a well and wealthy individual. So of course you're expecting him to wear suits like that. But for special occasions, you need to wear formal kind of dress. What else? Encoding. Encoding is translating an idea into a code or thought. In other words, developing a message. While decoding is assigning meaning to that idea or thought. So you are already processing the code or interpreting the message, what was being transpired to you by the speaker or the one whom you are talking with. So there are also interference during the encoding and decoding process. When we say interference, these are the problems that we encounter when we encode and decode the thought being said by the speaker. Okay, so these are the noise or what we call barriers. So these are anything that may reduce the clarity of communication. Another one could be physical or physiological. I'm so sorry with this spelling. Physiological. So these are loud sounds, distracting sights, or there you go. Mental or psychological. So these are noise such as when the language or words used by the speaker are not understood. Like for example, when you are in a certain conversation and you're talking with a person who has the uses slang words, or he or she has other diction rather than our language. So that could also be a barrier in understanding his or her words or language that he's saying. Okay, so thus communication barrier is either caused by the encoder or the decoder, and it may result to a communication breakdown. So if we have encountered these barriers like the physical or physiological, or the mental or psychological, then I think and I believe that our communication with the one whom we are talking to or that we're talking with would be meaningless. That's why in order for us to have a good communication, we should all consider these things. And we should also lessen the barriers in communication. Okay, so don't forget to answer your activity for this lesson, which is activity 2 found on page 10 of your textbook, meaning of gestures.